Have you ever really stopped to think about the clothes you're wearing right now? I mean, really think about them. Because beyond the color or the brand, there's an incredible story of engineering woven into every single thread. Today, we're going to pull back that thread and meet a hidden hero. So let's start with something familiar. Picture your favorite kurta. The one that's just perfectly soft and lets your skin breathe. Or maybe a smooth, shiny dupatta. What is it that gives them that special feel? Well, it's not just the material itself. It's a secret that's much, much smaller. All right, to find that secret, we need to do a little unraveling. We're going to deconstruct our clothes, basically, peeling back the layers from what we see and touch all the way down to a microscopic level. Our journey begins with the most obvious part, the fabric. This is what we experience first, right? The texture, the weight, the way it hangs. It's the canvas for the clothes we live our lives in.
But that canvas, it's not a solid sheet, not at all. If you get really close, you can see it's actually this intricate grid. It's a complex network of countless individual threads, all woven or knitted together with amazing precision.
And each of those threads, well, they have a name. This is our hidden hero, yarn. Now, the definition here says it's a continuous strand of fibers bound together. I want you to focus on those last three words, bound together, because believe me, they are the key to everything. So, if fabric is made from yarn, the next question is pretty obvious, right? Where does yarn come from? Let's trace it back one more step, down to its most basic raw ingredient. And this is where it all begins, with fibers. These are the fundamental building blocks, tiny little bits of cotton or wool or silk. And on their own, they're short, they're separate, and honestly, they're almost uselessly weak. This really puts the problem into perspective. Just imagine scooping up a handful of that fluffy stuff from a cotton pod. Could you make a shirt out of it? No way. It has zero strength, no structure. It would just fall apart in your hands. So, this is where the real transformation happens. How do we take that useless fluff and turn it into a strong, reliable thread? Well, the answer is a kind of simple, beautiful magic. So, here is the challenge laid out for us. On the left, we've got loose fibers, weak, short, and you can't really make anything with them. On the right, that's our goal, yarn, strong, continuous, and the essential ingredient for all fabric. The question is, how do we get from one side to the other? The solution isn't some complex chemical process or anything like that. It's an elegant physical action, a technique that humans have been using for thousands of years to give these weak little fibers an incredible collective strength. And get this, it's a beautifully simple two-step process. First, you comb the fibers so they're all lying parallel, all facing the same direction. And then, you do the most important part. You add a twist. That's it. That is the secret. And you know what? If you've ever sat down to prepare for Diwali and rolled a cotton wick, a bati, for a diya, you are already an expert in making yarn. You take that loose fluff, you roll it between your palms, and that twisting motion turns useless cotton into a firm, functional strand. It is the exact same principle. So what's actually happening here? What's the physics? Well, this quote from our source material explains it perfectly. The twist creates a huge amount of friction between all the tiny fibers. It makes them grip each other so tightly that they just can't slip apart anymore. And that collective grip is what we feel as strength. Okay, so now we know how to make a strong yarn. But this is where it gets even more fascinating. The yarn isn't just a component, it's the master architect. It's the blueprint that actually designs the very fabric you end up wearing. Yeah, we need to stop thinking of yarn as just a simple thread. It's way more accurate to call it an engineered structure. Every single one of its characteristics is deliberately designed to achieve a very specific result in the final fabric. And this is that engineering in action. Just look at the variety. If you take a thick, loosely twisted cotton yarn, you get a soft, breathable fabric, which is, of course, perfect for a comfy kurta. But if you use a thin, tightly twisted silk yarn, you get that smooth, lustrous sheen of a traditional sari. And for something totally different, a coarse, super strong cotton yarn, well, that's what gives you the durable fabric you need for a pair of jeans. In every case, the yarn dictates the final result. It all comes down to this. Every single quality of a piece of clothing, its strength, the way it feels, the way it looks, was decided before the fabric was even made. It was all predetermined by the character of the yarn. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that every piece of clothing in your wardrobe is telling a story. It's not just some passive object hanging there. And it's a story that starts long before the fabric was ever cut or sewn. It's a story of transformation, beginning with these humble, weak little fibers that are given extraordinary strength and purpose by one simple, elegant, and incredibly powerful action, the twist. So I'll leave you with a final thought. Tomorrow morning when you get dressed, are you just going to see fabric? Or are you now going to see the incredible hidden engineering inside, the millions and millions of tiny interlocking twists that are quite literally holding your world together?